If you enjoyed this program, please like and subscribe. If you want to know what sort of Christology did the most important convert to Christianity hold, find it in the Carmen Christi. You can find it in Philippians 2, 6 or 11. But was given the glory because he did not take what did not belong to him. He didn't seize equality with God. But if he was God, he would have been equal to God. He wouldn't seize anything.
Antonio, you're live on the air. Go ahead with your question, brother.
Yes, my name is Antonio Reed. I'm from North Carolina. Shalom, good morning, Rabbi. My question is about Philippians 2:6 and the compatibility of the Nicene Creed and the Nicene majority. It says there, who, referring to Christ, was in God form, did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped. My question here is that clearly the author of Philippians believes that Jesus is divine in some sense. But if he's not in his pre-existent state grasping equality with God, that can either mean one or two things. He's already equal with God, so it wouldn't make sense for him to want to grasp equality with God, or he's divine and doesn't seek equality with God the Father, which completely unhinges the core of the Nicene Creed. Am I correct here?
No, it's a very interesting topic. You're talking about the Carmen Christi. And the key word is, the Greek word is harpagmos, which means something to be seized. So the whole point of the Carmen Christi is that Paul is saying that, look what Jesus did. He did not think that equality with God was something to be seized. That means he did not. Rather, he humbled himself. The calling, the admonition is that the followers, Christians, should do the same. And how does this proceed? This proceeds by that because Jesus did not take what did not belong to him, namely equality with God, what does God do for him? He gives him something, and that is, he gives him the glory given to God of Isaiah 45. So Christians don't see this. So Philippians is a very important epistle because it's no doubt from the hand of Paul, but it also gives us an inside view of how Paul viewed Jesus, his Christology. And that is that Jesus is not equal to God, and therefore Jesus recognized that truth and did not take what did not belong to him. And that Greek word really conveys grabbing something kind of violently, taking something that's just not yours. The context is that disciples who followers of Jesus should imitate Christ. That's the whole point of it. And why people miss this, I know why. Because this is what's taught in churches, seminarians, in Bible classes. So the point is, the idea is that imitate Christ's humility. Just as Jesus did not take what did not belong to him, but rather what did he do? He made himself into a servant, which he properly is. He did not see equality with God something to be seized, so therefore God exalted him, verse 9, to the highest place and gave him the name above every other name. So if Jesus was God, why did God have to give him anything? He's God already. And how could God give God something? That's the whole point, that the name of Jesus every knee should bow in heaven and earth. Where does that come from? That's Isaiah 45 stuff. The whole point of this is that Jesus is not God, and he was humble. He did not take, he did not seize what didn't belong to him, equality with God. And he was therefore rewarded because he made himself a servant. He humbled himself. And the point is, The admonishment is learn from Jesus. There are some that view this creed as a pre-literary creed, which means that Paul picked this up from at an earlier point. From others, I don't know. I mean, that's discussed extensively by Christian scholars. But what is being conveyed here is that Jesus is not God. Because if he was God, he wouldn't have to seize it because he had it. And God wouldn't have to give him something if he already had it. So, and it wouldn't make sense to say that be humble and do what Jesus did, that if you're humble, you'll be given things that you don't have. Oh, if people would take out a moment to look at Philippians 2, verse 6, carefully, they would recognize that in Paul's view, which doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is Deuteronomy 6:4, and that's what should matter to you. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. That's the doctrine I'm very interested in, that there is one God, there is no other. There is no one besides you. There is no other God besides you, no one. Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 6. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in Paul, and neither should you. But if you want to know what sort of Christology did the most important convert to Christianity hold, you can find it in the Carmen Christi. You can find it in Philippians 2, 6 through 11. And this passage points to a Jesus who was subordinate to the Father, who did not have this glory, but was given the glory because he did not take what did not belong to him. He didn't seize equality with God. But if he was God, he would have been equal to God. He wouldn't seize anything. You follow? Just read this nice and slow, and it's really very, very simple. Thank you so much for your question. If you enjoyed this program, please like and subscribe.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה